Thank you, Seema. Thank you for joining. My first question to you is, and that's a request actually from other people that I have discussed earlier through the test chat community. We want to know what are core tips from your side to the tester who are actually core into the testing, how they can be advance on their growth path.
So for me, what's absolutely most important, and this is something I speak a lot with my teams also, is one, we are engineers. We are test engineers, quality engineers, whatever our name, title, role is, we're engineers. So behave like one. Be with the team. You're not separate from engineers, product. You're part of the whole system. You're not an island on your own. That's really important to understand that. Secondly, uh, make yourself visible. Your work is not so trivial and so unwanted that you are somewhere in a corner working by yourself and just saying yes, no, test, pass, fail, green, red. It's not as trivial as that. You have a place and it's in a very important place.
Hmm.
So make yourself visible and show the value that you're bringing to the table, to the whole system. Thirdly, learn, because we have to keep evolving. Technology keeps changing. It's not just for engineers, but it's also for testers. Every change that comes along has an impact on us. So it's important for us to keep learning and growing so that we are evolving along with and not being at the back and being more reactive, right? With evolving technology, also, what happens is there's always ambiguity, there's confusion as new technologies come and become stabilized. So it's what's really important is something that keeps you stable, and that is your foundations of being a tester. Your understanding of testing and the foundations and the principles of testing is what brings it all together. So keep that intact, and I think that'll be really amazing.
Thank you for this. I mean, this is really insightful answer to this question. And then I want to know, which is now I'm curious about, is how you make sure that you are always there on the screen when we talk about any event happening around the testing fraternity. I've seen not only in the conferences but in panel discussions, in any of these discussions where people are talking about testers leadership, how a person should understand this field and grow in that. You're always there. I've seen that you are on the screen. So how you make sure that this is happening, or how you do that by default?
Participating comes from my curiosity to learn. So I want to understand different perspectives. I want to understand how people are approaching different problems, because being remote and being confined to what you're doing, it could be your own company, your own team, or your own self. Uh, you'll only know limited knowledge, but it's only being in the community, being in meetups, being in conferences, you'll hear from different perspectives, different contexts, or different problems that people are solving. And that curiosity sparks something in me, and that's why I'm there. But also, being there for me, I think it brings in familiarity. So you start to understand how things work, what's changing, the what are the commonalities, um, and active listening. So have this habit of, it's a bad habit, multitasking. And in the multitasking, what I'm there, I'm reading something, I'm doing something, I'm working on something, I'm responding to something. So I'm kind of everywhere. Uh, but then attending such things, it forces me and allows me to focus on one thing and stop doing the others. That's also a habit I'm trying to change in myself, to bring that change in me. So it helps me grow with active listening and just to focus on one thing rather than 10 things and not be good at either of them.
Great. I think the one I wanted to ask, I think you already answered that, but still I'll ask, let's to understand if you have any other perspective to add on to that question. So what is that secret that you have which ensure your consistent growth in your career, in your professional journey?
Okay, one straightforward answer would be perseverance. I never give up. The harder it gets, the harder I persevere. So
Absolutely.
I might cry, I might struggle, I might have tears, but I don't give up. That's one thing that has stayed consistent. The harder it gets, for example, I don't know how to do automation, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. That's good for me. The more I don't know, that forces me to put in that extra effort to learn. Um, and the second is I'm always learning. Like I said, I'm reading. I'm looking out for new ideas. And not just books. I'm also reading articles. I'm reading people's viewpoints. Not limited to testing. I do everything else. And it could be videos. It could be podcasts. It could be research articles.
Hmm.
For me, it's constantly evolving and not limited to testing. It's a whole package that I'm looking at. Just like you have performance reviews at work
Hmm.
where you're talking about, I'm good at this, I've done this, I've done that, this is my strength. You speak about it in interviews, but do the same thing for yourself and be honest with it. Then you'll find out many things. I have my own, I'm not good at this, or I want to improve this and I want to improve that. So I have my list of things that I know for myself, and then that allows me to start working on it. I give it a try, and then I may not like it. Then at least I know I don't like this, so this is not something I want to pursue. Let me look at what else is there for me from my growth. Uh, that's my way of working
Hmm.
with things.
This is amazing. I mean, all you mentioned is self discovery and then self awareness to understand. But one thing you mentioned while you are answering this is reading. So,
Mm-hmm.
my next question to you is, and you also said that you just not read about testing, but all other things. So, because my entire episode is more focused on four, so I want to know what could be those four books that you will recommend to my audience, and what will be the learnings from those four books.
For me, ideas come from, it might be situational. I might be going through something, then I'm reading at the same time something, and suddenly an idea sparks up. Or it could be I'm intentionally reading something because I want to get better at it. So it depends. I don't read only testing books, I would say. I'm being very honest. I do read a few, very few, but for me, it expands from leadership, coaching, just situational awareness, philosophical. So it could be reading the Bhagavad Gita and trying to understand it a little bit more. That's something that I've been doing in 2023, investing a little bit more time there. And it could be something philosophical too. But if I have to name some that really helped me was um, one is Indra Nui, someone I look up to. I love the way that confidence and the leadership she has and the way she speaks. That impact she has when she speaks is something I absolutely admire, and I read about her. I like Dan Pink. Daniel Pink is an author who has written many books, but of them, I would say To Sell as Human is something that I like because it's all about negotiation and how negotiation and selling, it's not just limited to sales or marketing. It's more for everyone in their everyday life, and especially for testing. I thought that was absolutely
Hmm.
critical. I like that. I like the book Bounce by Matthew Syed because what there's two parts, right? One, you can be super intelligent and then
Hmm.
achieve something, or you can be really hardworking. You may not be the brightest, intelligent person, but you could
Yeah.
be the hardest. I fall in that category. I'm not the brightest, but I will work hard towards it. I know where my limitations are. And it was nice to read Bounce because it showed a lot about, or it helped me understand myself a little bit more of you don't have, it doesn't have to be you're born with it. You can
Mm.
make it yourself too.
I think that those are the good suggestions. So, because time does not permit me in this episode to go along, I just want one conclusive advice from your side to my audience.
It's three words, okay? Reflect, learn, and act. So I'll give a little explanation to this of why I'm saying this. Act, because if you're just acting without any reflection or learning, it's just donkey work because it doesn't interest you, you lose interest. It's just work that is unpleasant. You
Mm.
may not enjoy it, you're just doing it for the sake of doing. If you learn and then, if you learn but don't act, then it's useless knowledge. You're just reading, like if I keep reading and don't act on it, then it's useless. It's just in my head. What's the point of it?
Right.
So when you learn something, act on it, try it out, give it a place, or speak about it, or do something about it. If not then and there, somewhere in your journey at one point. But if you're just learning, how do you know what you need to learn? So you're kind of everywhere. That doesn't give you focus and you're distracted here, there, everywhere. So you could learn about a lot of things, but it's not giving you a direction and you're kind of spread out too thin.
Right.
That's why you need reflection. The more you reflect upon yourself, your strength, your weaknesses, the situation around you, and most importantly, the context. So, in what context, what and how to react, to learn, to invest in, the more you know about that, then you know what needs to be learned. The more you learn about it, then you need to act on it. The more you act on it, it just comes around again in circles. So that's one line I would say.
Nicely articulated. Amazing. I mean, this, not only this answer, but this entire episode for me was a free class of how you should learn and grow. Thank you so much, Seema, for your time.
Thank you for inviting me and for this opportunity. It's really nice. I look forward to many more and all the very best to TTC. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you for your wishes. Thanks a lot.